In this demo, we will see a customer of the bank, Mr. Archie Andrews, visiting the bank branch to complete a banking transaction. We will see how Archie is able to provide transaction details in a contactless manner, using e-forms enabled with artificial intelligence capabilities to parse cheque details using intelligent character recognition without touching any of the surfaces or papers in the bank. Within this journey, we'll also see Martin, who is a teller in the bank branch, using a unified front-end solution to sell, solve and serve the customers while completing the transactions in a paperless manner. Let's start our journey from the perspective of Archie Andrews when he visits the bank. It has been quite some time since Archie had visited the bank, and this time whilst visiting, he sees that the self-service terminals, which are usually busy, are now lying empty. Archie notices that he has received a push notification on his mobile phone stating that now he can sign into the branch network without going to the self-service terminal. Archie is a tech-savvy customer and would like to try this new tech that the bank has to offer. So he goes ahead to sign in, which redirects Archie to this page where he's asked to provide his mobile number. Once Archie provides his mobile number and goes ahead to continue, he receives a one-time password to his mobile phone, which he needs to fill in. The system then identifies Archie from his mobile number. However, in order to give him access to the transactions, there needs to be a second factor authentication. Archie is now asked to answer a few security questions. For example, here we can see that Archie is providing the second and fourth letter to his mother's maiden name. After he's authenticated, the system knows the last time Archie has visited the bank and also provides Archie with different serving options. As Archie is here to complete a teller transaction, he goes ahead to select the relevant option. He's then presented with the list of transactions that he can complete. After selecting the cheque deposit transaction, Archie receives a ticket number and can also see the number of people that are currently waiting. However, Archie also has the option to provide some transaction details that could allow him to be called in earlier. Archie is very interested in this and agrees to provide the transaction details here. Since this is a cheque deposit transaction, relevant fields are dynamically displayed with respect to this particular transaction. Again, we don't want Archie to be filling in this information manually, so Archie can go ahead and take a photograph of his cheque using just the camera of his mobile. From the captured image, the relevant information is extracted and placed at the appropriate fields. This is made possible by parsing the cheque details using the intelligent character recognition by the Microsoft Cognitive Services that can even read the handwritten data from the cheque. Archie then verifies the details that have been fetched from the cheque and confirms them. Upon confirmation, he's able to see the e-form number is generated for him. If required, Archie can go ahead and add another request that would be added to the same e-form number. In this way, we see that without touching any of the surfaces, kiosks or paper within the bank branch, Archie was able to provide the transaction details. Using the cheque parsing capabilities, we're able to significantly reduce the transaction details filling time. These capabilities also allow for quicker transactions, since the chances of error during manually filling of e-forms are reduced. In a new normal, we are witnessing such interaction styles evolving that allows the bank to operate and utilise the branch networks whilst making customers feel safer. Now that we've seen how the customer was able to use the digital touchless solution in order to provide the transaction details, we'll now look at how our teller, Martin Barrows, is enabled with a unified front end to sell, solve and serve the customers, whilst enabling banks to build the digital branches. Martin is enabled with a personalised dashboard where he can see information about the transactions which he has completed. Martin can also look at the different announcements by the bank, and within the same dashboard he's able to see the different activities that are awaiting action. As Martin clicks on the next button, calling the subsequent customer in the queue, he's presented with a single view of the next customer, which in this case is Archie Andrews. Using the single view, Martin can very quickly have a clear picture of the customer's relationship with the bank. He can see the customer's active products, the different channels which the customer is using, and other details of how the customer is structured within the bank. Once the customer approaches Martin's desk to present his transaction requirement, With one single click, Martin can open the Enterprise Transactions pad, which represents the unified front end for Martin to serve his customers, as it gives him access to a wide range of transactions. These include the account management transactions, loan management transactions, cards management transactions, cash and cheque transactions, and different kinds of fund transfer and bill payments. In this particular case, since the customer is walking in for a cheque deposit, Martin can click on this, which opens up the form he needs to fill in order to complete the transaction. Now, since this customer has already filled in the information through the digital e-form, Martin doesn't have to fill in these details again. He can simply click on the Load from eForms button to retrieve the information, which populates the relevant fields with provided information. The ability to retrieve the information from the eForms allows Martin to speed up the transaction, which provides service efficiencies. After reviewing the information, Martin can go ahead to verify the details by making a background check with the core banking solutions to verify the provided information. Upon verification, the teller continues to confirm these transaction details. At the confirmation stage, Martin verifies the signature on the cheque along with the signatures that are available for this particular cheque issuing account in the system. This could be either a manual or an automatic verification. If at any point of time Martin has doubts regarding any of the associated information of the transaction, he can forward this particular transaction for an approval as well. That would ultimately trigger either a remote or a local approval. Also, at the confirmation stage, Martin needs to authenticate the customer. However, we don't want the customer to sign on any paper or touch any surfaces in the branch. Hence, this verification is done using a one-time password, which the customer receives on his mobile. But if the customer doesn't want to validate with OTP, they can be validated by either capturing digital signatures or through biometric verification. As we're focused on a contactless journey in this demo, we'll validate using OTP. Once the customer provides the OTP, he is authenticated and the transaction can be taken forward. As Martin continues to execute the transaction, we see an acknowledgement receipt gets generated and is sent as an email to the customer, which completes the transaction. As the transaction is executed in a contactless manner, the customer feels relieved and safe at the same time. So we've just seen a very advanced scenario. It's a web-based scenario with a unified front end, which is very easy for the teller to use and complete multiple different transactions without having to use different systems. We've also seen how the customer uses the e-forms enabled with artificial intelligence capabilities to pass checks, which significantly reduces the customer's effort required to fill in e-forms, and witnessed how we eliminated the need to perform a make a checker verification on the transaction by authenticating the customer using a one-time password. We also saw how the teller was able to retrieve an e-form information and pre-populate the transaction forms. Without any touch and with the efficiencies of AI, the branch visit was safe and efficient.